Audio check.
Roomba report.
So my daughter, who's almost 1, she jumps on all the Roombas and then tries to ride them around. And it's gotten pretty intense recently that the Roombas have started to go hide from her. So she'll mess with them and they'll like go underneath the table and then just stop and just won't do anything else. Like, I think they're like, they know what's going on. And then I guess
artificial intelligence.
Wow,
Amazon bought
those
them
Amazon
recently.
upgrades work fast.
Yeah.
Your Roombas are like, that's one damn fat cat.
Fat hairless cat detected.
Yeah. I'm just imagining the day though the Roomba just stops working entirely. It's like, I quit.
I'm out.
Here's
like
my notice.
Suicide. It like goes off the ledge down into the stairs, Thelma and Louise style.
It has like a ledge sensor. It's supposed to have a ledge sensor, but I could just see it just going full speed right off to try to commit suicide.
No, what it would do is hack into your robot lawnmower, program it to go inside and chew it up, like eat it. Like
now we're getting into like Roomba, Mad Max,
bottle bots or battle bots or whatever.
Turn it into Roomba daisy chaining and
So Corey jokes, but I do have a robotic lawnmower as well. And
which I think is perfectly cool.
Wow.
They may uprise, but the robotic lawnmower is not made by Amazon yet. So hopefully we'll get a little time.
In the movie, and this is a bit of trivia question for the people that are here and the people that are listening in our audience, what is the opening song of Maximum Overdrive, the movie back in the 80s, based on the book by Stephen King? Was that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You haven't seen it? It's freaking amazing.
This may be before I was born. Here we go, John.
Here it is.
My goodness.
I don't know if anybody's gonna. Nope, it wasn't. It wasn't Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck was an album that came out.
That was
a few
Varsity
years
Blues
after that movie. It wasn't. Oh wow, this is weird. On the internet, whenever you ask a trivia question, people aren't nailing it. Either they don't know or they just really.
There's a delay.
Care.
There's a delay. Some people are still talking about making meat out of lawnmowers.
Oh, MC nailed it. Who made who?
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When did this movie come out?
You've got to watch it. That's your homework tonight. Go watch Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive.
Now, who hasn't watched Maximum Overdrive here?
Like literally everybody.
What?
So, just for those following along with the trivia, Maximum Overdrive was released in 1986, and that's when I was born. So I can't imagine. That's how young I am.
Oh,
it hurt.
I'm older than Ralph.
I was 6 years old. Oh my god.
Yeah, it seems like an appropriate movie for a 6-year-old.
Yes, you're making me feel better now. Not that much better.
Hey, close enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, this looks interesting. I'll definitely check it out. Now, that being said, though, I am kind of a movie buff, and I've seen tons and tons of movies that were made way before we were all born in the 40s. I mean, that's not weird to see a movie before you were born.
Right.
So right in that period of time, have you seen Kurll? Kurll, I think. It's the claw like thing that
I have. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're old. That's a great movie. Wraith, My Science Project. There's so many 80s movies that just
classics.
No one talks about.
What about Videodrome? Seen that?
Videodrome was great.
The one I did see was Death Race 2000.
Yes.
Okay.
Good one.
Yeah.
What about Escape from New York?
Escape from by the way, so the scene where they're flying into New York, that's all like computer generated. Do you know how they did that scene? How they built that scene?
No, I don't. How did they build it?
Oh, so I just saw this documentary where they were talking about how they did that scene, and there were people like, it was so smooth. And they're like, the computers at that time, there's no effing way they could have done that.
Was this in the Light and Magic series? Was this the ILM documentary on Disney Plus?
I don't know if it was, but
I'm only halfway through that one, and
Manhattan, and they spray painted like the most flat black they could find, and then they put white tape on the edge of the buildings.
Okay,
and then they recorded it in a dark room with a camera going in to create the outlines of the buildings. They literally built like flat black Manhattan and then
Wow.
put like white tape on it to build that scene of them coming in. It was like
That's insane. That's slick. Like, I mean, for that time period, like, you know, if you look at that time period,
no
it's
joke,
like,
no joke, right? And it's not like Last Starfighter where it's jarring. Like I love the Last Starfighter, but computer generation on that was bad.
My favorite is the New York intro from Hackers, where it's like all little microchips and they're like little zooming around.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Hollywood's portrayal of hackers was, very
weird.
Yeah.
So have you guys seen Johnny Long's presentation at DEF CON in honor of DEF CON called Hacking Hollywood?
No,
I haven't.
So what he did is he went through a bunch of movies like Swordfish and Hackers and all these movies. And he actually showed how those movies got hackers right and how we rip on those movies. And they're like, oh, they got this stuff all wrong. And he's like, actually, they nailed it. They actually got this stuff right. It's one of the funniest presentations, Johnny Long's Hacking Hollywood. So in honor of DEF CON. Well, speaking of which, we probably should get going.
Johnny Long?
Devil's
Johnny
Book, the
Long.
Unix Bible.
I've got one that says Andrew Nicholson.
Here, I'll link it, Ryan. I found it. My Google works better than yours.
Oh man.
Oh, there it comes. Here it
pay
comes.
for Google Premium Plus.
Yeah, Premium Plus.
Oh,
You
the
get
extra.
extra ads though. That's the
You
problem.
mean you're not stuck with Bing? Oh man.
Oh my God. Let me
I've been
break
using
out
Yahoo for a
Webcrawler
while.
or
It's the ghetto.
Dogpile.
Yeah,
There's two Hacking Hollywoods.
Where's my Ask Jeeves?
I go to Ask Jeeves and I type in please take me to Alta Vista, then that's how I find it.
Alta Vista.
John, you just turned into a slideshow. Are you feeling okay?
You try to You try to go to neworder.box.sk.
I've got a case of COVID OBS variant. I got.
The OBS variant, it's spreading wild.
All right, Ryan, let's go.
All right.
Roll the tape.
Broken hand.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Black Hills Information Security Talkin Bout News. My name is John Strand. This edition is brought to you by Black Hills Information Security Operations Center and Antisyphon Information Security Training, because we do these things to like pay the bills and stuff. So that's it for the advertising. We're done there. But this particular show is pretty cool. We got a number of neat stories that are coming up. Only a handful of ransomware attacks. I'm really glad that we have Ralph with us because we have a VMware vulnerability.
Oh,
And Ralph is always the guy.
talking dirty to me.
He's the man on the street. It's like there's VMware vulnerability. He's like, excuse me, can I butt in on this conversation? Not only is there a VMware vulnerability, Ralph, it's a 9.8. So
Oh my God, the hottest of hot.
it's good. We also have Wading Through Logs with us and BSD Bandit and Corey. And as always, Ryan keeps it all somehow on the level. So Ralph, do we want to jump straight into the VMware vulnerability since I've already talked it up?
Sure. Why not?
I always like to see where you're going to go with this other than you should patch.
You you should patch.
You should patch this.
I'll preface this. I think that you talked about this a little while ago. We were saying that, VMware is getting hit up and Adobe did in the past and all this other fun stuff. So, expect more. Maybe it'll slow down. Maybe 2022 is not their year. But there is a couple actual. So the one CVE here is a 9.8. It's a authentication bypass. But there's also some other vulnerabilities behind that too. So there's a couple other CVEs to form a full attack chain, right?
Yeah, this one is the authentication bypass, and they say that this is the gateway.
Yes.
The gateway drug. It's like the marijuana, boys and girls, that'll lead you directly into CVE 2022-3165-8 and 3165-9 for remote code execution.
Yeah, so there's a JDBC injection for a remote code execution. And then there's also an SQL injection, which is, obviously in the article, they're like, patch now, patch early, patch tomorrow, patch. But yeah, this is one of those things that I'm not super surprised. So for those who don't know, a lot of VMware's products are Java based or Java backed, and so this is not uncommon to see in those kind of environments. And also, I feel like their overall software stack hasn't been like thoroughly tested in a sense from a security sense. So,
so I disagree with you on that point because what I don't know, my opinion of what I think happened. Do you remember about 3-4 years ago, VMware basically laid off a tremendous amount of their US staff, their US developers. They basically
was that a couple of years ago, I believe?
Was that? I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. And I'm wondering if we're not entering into a FireEye situation. For a while, FireEye had like really, really, really good developers, and then a whole bunch of vulnerabilities came out. And what you found out is FireEye was just wrapping of QEMU, and it hadn't been updated in forever. And I'm wondering if that's what's actually going on here.
There's another piece that we should think about on that in that vein is that Broadcom actually just bought VMware. So what we're seeing though is obviously an indication of what's going on before this purchase. But there is a lot of indications from the Broadcom purchase that VMware is going to be changing a lot, right, in the coming future, especially with how they're licensing their products, and then who knows about the security side of things, right?
And I think that gets into supply chain hacks, right? Like everyone's like, what about supply chain vulnerabilities? And I think we have a supply chain hack in our news stories today. But there should be something that should be said about, not just, like solar wind style attacks, but what is their software development lifecycle practices, and how does that actually translate for the sales and protection of their customers as well?
The other thing that I will mention, I know it's been brought up multiple times with like the vCenter deployments. These shouldn't be publicly exposed, right? So this should be a post-exploit attack,
well,
right?
So hold on, because some of this stuff is actually other products, not the hypervisor. So this affects VMware Workspace ONE Access. Have you never heard of this? Yes. VMware Identity Manager, VMware vRealize Automation, which is like a hypervisor related product, VMware Cloud Formation or Cloud Foundation. But this Workspace ONE Access is related to their purchase of AirWatch years ago. So it's MDM.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with any of these products specifically, but some of them may be intended to be publicly exposed.
Yeah. So I've been trying to talk about Workspace ONE. I just realized my mic had been broken the whole time. So
welcome back. Welcome back.
The VM Workspace has been being hit with vulnerabilities for the past 6 months, just stuff coming in and out just for it alone. And it's the authentication part of the tool, right? And so that, I wouldn't say it's like all VMware, right? And but like Corey said, it is 3 pieces, but that Workspace has actually had multiple vulnerabilities. And it's just because I've been tracking it through threat intel on if we had that, right? So this is just more.
You've been seeing hits and attacks on it though?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we target this all the time. And on my last 2 red teams, I've gotten lucky and they have had AirWatch. And I target it all the time for password guessing and user enumeration. One of my buddies wrote a tool years ago that exposed the fact that most AirWatch deployments allow single factor registration. On my last engagement, I got super lucky. Get some creds, everywhere is protected, log in with single factor auth. Now I'm a mobile device that is an internal mobile device. I'm on VPN.
Now I'm a mobile device.
Right, yeah. I'm a mobile device. I can do anything. I have this magical user agent where I can send to the internal network, and it's like, well, it's someone's iPhone, so it must be fine, right? But yeah, I mean, this is the Workspace Identity Manager or whatever is supposed to be exposed. Like in their diagram, they're like, of course, put it in a DMZ. But it's supposed to.
But I want to go back to what Ralph was saying, though. Those are all the vulnerabilities as far as how I'm reading this. And once again, all this crap is completely up in the air until it actually starts. And still we get proof of concept code, which isn't out yet, which I agree. But VNG Security is not releasing it yet. And I think they're doing the right thing. But what I think Ralph was talking about is the 9.8 is not publicly exposed. But once you get into the system, all of these other ones are lower, like they're like lower importance scores, like 7 or whatever the hell those numbers actually mean. They're different, right? Is that a correct assessment, Ralph, or am I missing something?
No, they are different. And to Corey's point, though, is I thought that this, I misread it. I thought that this had to do with vCenter, and it doesn't. And more specifically, Corey is absolutely correct that this is kind of a little bit more public with the Workspace One, which was formerly called VMware Identity Manager. Right.
Oh,
so Workspace One is like the new branding of this, and it is an SSO style.
There's some kind of there's probably a freaking Harvard MBA that their major contribution for the year was renaming their product.
Do you think this is a good argument of not to drink the Kool-Aid on a single product? Right.
Yeah.
Like buy everything. Like if you buy, it's going to be harder to manage and maintain. But if you buy a couple products from a couple different people that all plug together, one vulnerability won't wipe you out. At least you'll have some type of protection. I'm just throwing spitballing stuff out there for you.
No, he's throwing shade. I remember it was like one of the last RSAs. It was either the one right before COVID or the one before the right before. But I remember Cisco had their logo or their picture, if somebody can find it online, was an airplane that was hobbled together from a bunch of airplane parts. And they were like, Cisco, you wouldn't get on an airplane that was made from a bunch of different airplane manufacturers. And I'm like, that picture of that airplane made up of a bunch of parts from a whole bunch of other airplanes perfectly embodied Cisco.
Also real airplanes.
Also real airplane.
Oh, man.
Because there's no airplane where every part is made by one company that I know of, or car,
pretty much,
or computer, or anything. So that argument, yeah. But I guess my take on what Wade said is a lot of the times, if you do rock with one brand of Kool-Aid, you get some integrations that they play better. Whereas like a lot of the times what we see is like everything has to integrate with Active Directory. Well, now there's all these like service accounts that no one can change the password to because if you change it, well, then it doesn't work. And so like a lot of the times you do introduce like edge case vulnerabilities when you're integrating all these like non-services. Like, well, we had to write this custom PHP thing that turns VMware, I realize, into Amazon Cognito. Like, and then that like that thing just stores all the credentials in like a REST, like some kind of Redis database. Like it has everything. So that can be risky, but I do like the idea that like just hedge your bets. Like don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. Like,
and then
I think that can go too far, right? Because I remember years ago, people were like, "We're not going to do everything Microsoft or for our server infrastructure. We're going to do BSD and Solaris and Linux and all that." Please understand that we're talking specifically about security stacks. We're not talking about operating systems or infrastructure. Right. Your infrastructure, you should try to standardize because that's easier to train and maintain. So just clarifying. Yeah. So
and
I don't like reading logs for different things. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Wait a minute, wading through logs.
One type of logs and I'm good. All right.
Freaking name.
So lied to.
Basically,
Wade goes to a job interview. So, like, what operating systems do you guys use here? All of them. And he's like, what?
So basically, the upshot of this is if you recognize any of these products in this VMware security advisory, update right now.
Yeah, but my scary thing is the people that are going to get hit are the ones that they're like, VMware? Yeah. What's that?
We use Workspace One.
We use Workspace
VMware.
One. We don't use VMware. It's Workspace One.
Any of these versions.
Oh, well, yeah. Then there's some poor person.
Second identity management.
Oh, don't worry. We're protected. We have Broadcom, VMware, Bit9, Carbon Black, Incident Response, Chain, Toolkit.
That was
and the Harvard grad is screaming, yes!
Well played, Corey. Well played.
The process name is too long to even show in like the task manager. It's just like 10 products.
And the Harvard MBAs everywhere smiled and said,
they're screaming and clapping. Yes.
All right. Speaking of universities, let's go ahead and let's talk about the story. Universities put email users at risk. So basically what it was is, with DMARC, there's like 3 levels. I can't remember what it was, like identify, protect, and then like block or something. And this particular article, it kind of bothers me a little bit because it's by Proofpoint. And Proofpoint is like, yeah, email at university sucks and it's insecure. And it's like, oh my goodness. It just screams like, buy our product. I'm just going to put this out there. I think it's skeevy when a vendor that sells a product goes and finds a bunch of universities and then turns it into an article at Threat Post. it just feels dirty to me. It feels so dirty.
Write a counter post on how cheaper it would be to go with one of their competitions and be like, oh yeah, just use like abnormal because they're easier to set up. Like,
here's one thing about university emails that blows my mind. Like once you go to university, like they let you keep that email forever. So like, I don't understand. Eventually, are they just going to have like a bazillion license? Like anyway,
do they let you keep it forever?
Yes, for a lot of universities, they will let you keep that email address.
I have two.
Totally ban. They should totally have like after 3 years of graduation or whatever, you have to re-enroll, right? Like prove you're still
or something.
Yeah, but then they have to keep track of that, and that's real hard. Okay.
Pro tip. I'm just saying, like, a lot of universities now have moved to Office 365, and like, I don't know, maybe you actually have a Word in Office 365 subscription that includes Excel, Word, and all those things.
Yeah, I like Jeff's quote: "Higher education, the only industry where your customers are also your most common."
I'm just gonna say this article's got to be this is just press release grabbing, because like 90% of people I've seen that use Proofpoint don't ever set DKIM to quarantine or reject because they just let Proofpoint do it. That's literally how everyone configures it, is they don't use SPF rejects. They don't use any of that stuff because Proofpoint's like, we got you covered. Don't worry. Just open it up and we'll handle the rest.
Well, Corey, as you know, Black Hills Information Security Proofpoint is impossible to get through.
Impossible.
It's impossible. They've solved email security. We sit around, smoke and drink, and talk about the end of an era.
It actually is hard to get through, but it is easy to get around. You got to go around it.
I like the clarification. That's good.
And it could be some universities that said, you know what, we're running group wise anyway, so we're not involved.
or better yet, they're like,
Pegasus.
Did you see who we were? Like it almost feels like punching down. It's like universities have shitty security. It's like, oh my God, where's my fainting couch? I've always said, if you die, if you're a bad security professional, you die, you go straight to hell. When the elevator opens up, you get to do security at a university. It's like
most of them have their printers online,
anything at all. No security. You can't lock things down because it's going to be if you block spam, it's blocking freedom of speech, and if anything gets hacked, it's still your fault. Oh my God!
And so all the passwords are on sticky notes on people's desks.
Sticky notes.
Everyone needs local admin. It's a requirement.
Oh my God, that triggered me. All right,
admin 1 2 3 4 bang.
Yeah. So it's like universities have crappy security. It's just
So what about the email? Because I feel like this is the least of their concerns.
So okay, John, can we write a blog post just called "The Top 10 Companies That We Want to Be Our Clients"? Can we just write a blog? Because that's basically what this is. Is like, please, university people, we're just going to keep dragging your. Yeah, we can just write it. It's like top 10 companies that don't do business with BHIS, but totally should.
Okay, so on that note, there's an article: U.S. financial firms face growing regulatory fines for poor security management. That's pretty close, right? So where's that?
No comment.
No comment. There we go. That's it. How's that, Corey? Is that close? It's like
is that better?
Like big companies, J.P. Morgan Chase, U.S. Bank. Companies with $3 trillion in assets being fined $2.5 million,
which is that's like a coffee for them. That's like a coffee.
Right, that'll fix them.
And that's why I wanted to bring this story up. It's like, come on. And I know for most people, they're like, $2.5 million is a lot of money. Yeah, for us, but for them, it's like
it's already in the budget. They already put in the budget and they're waiting for it.
So it's like a red light. It's like anything else where if it's just a fee, it's just how much it costs to do it. If you're rich, like if you hit a biker, it's $1,000. Okay, so it only costs $1,000 to hit a biker.
Are we at death rates 2000?
I think we are. Yeah, I mean it has to be percentage based. It's like.
Well, what country is that? It's a Scandinavian country where the fines for speeding go up based on your income.
Yes.
Maybe we need that whenever they're talking about fines.
Well, isn't that like how GDPR works, right? They fine you based on
based on your net income.
Yeah,
gross,
which makes
gross
sense,
income,
right?
actually, I think.
Yeah.
The problem is that Chase Bank actually made this law. They made this law, so they made sure the fines were light, or they could afford them, and they also charge their shareholders. They don't actually.
Keep going.
Allow me to grab this shovel and dig myself a hole. Why are my bank accounts about to be closed tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hello,
assets have been frozen.
It's like people are like, well, if you're ripping on these companies, who the hell do you bank with? Wells Fargo? Or like,
no one. We bury our money.
All the BHIS money is in the cushions in my basement couch. That's where we stuff all of our money. That's our bank.
So what is actually causing these fines? Like what is the regulation that
it wasn't that they were hacked or anything. It was that they didn't have proper oversight.
So it's compliance.
And then the one at the bottom, the US Bank one, was kind of the same crap that burnt Wells Fargo. Speaking of Wells Fargo, where they were literally creating accounts and services for people that people weren't asking for. They were just signing them up. Like,
there you take care of this.
Right there. It's like US Bank, 37 million for opening unauthorized accounts.
So it's not that's not even security related, unless it's like
no. I think it is, right. I think that whenever we're looking at security, there's an aspect of security that's like, the financial side of it, where you watch for these types of transactions and these types of things to happen. But this is the part of security that's the hard part of security. All the other stuff that we complain about, like patches and configuration management, that stuff's easy. This stuff's the hard stuff right here. So.
Well, luckily, all those extra accounts, they reported it in their quarterly earnings, and it doubled their stock price.
It doubled their stock price. And bonuses were fantastic that quarter.
Oh, I will say, like, it is funny because, like, we always talk about accountability and security and compliance. All these executives who are actually, like, on the hook for this, they all have golden parachutes, right? So it's like, our company got hacked. Here's a $200 million bonus to go away.
And the thing that sucks is, like, the really high up people aren't even the ones that are doing this, but they're driving it.
Right.
So, like, going to all of these different, bankers, and they're like, well, I just want to say the amount of, like, services that are being started up by your customers are, like, behind everybody else. You need to find a way to do this. They put this tremendous pressure on these poor, like, mid-level bankers. And then they do stuff like this because they think that they're being told to do it because they're being told to do it, and then whenever the shoe finally drops, it's never the uppity people. Like, you're right. They get their $200 million golden parachute and they're gone.
Yeah.
And the plebes are like, well, guess what? You're washing cars now.
So, yeah, and it is funny. The other thing that they, got called out for is, like, not enforcing identity theft protection when creating accounts. So it's like, you'd like to open an account. God. If someone says yes, you'd like to open an account, like, this is like the corporate policy. If they say they want to open an account, nothing can stop you because you get a bonus if that account opens. So it's like, what's your name? I don't know, but all I have is a social security number. Oh, we can use that.
No problem. Just come on in. I need my espresso machine. Let's go. Come on.
So years ago, before I was married, the summer I got married, I worked at a telemarketing firm called Teleperformance USA. And they literally had access to everyone's bank account information, their credit card information, and it was ran by the banks. And all we had to do was get someone on camera to say, or not camera, but on the phone to say yes. It's like, would you like to buy burpee seeds? Would you like to buy vacation voucher? Would you like to buy this coupons? And we were specifically targeting, like, people that was English as a second language, predominantly Hispanic people. And I remember I would be on the phone call. It would, we wouldn't dial their number. It would auto dial for us. And then it would be like, is this Rosa, whatever? And the lady would be like, yes, I am doing this and this and this and this with this bank. Would you be interested in some burpee seeds? Yes. Would you be interested in vacation voucher? Yes. Do you know any other word in English other than yes? Yes. And I remember I like I'm like, you have a very great day. Thank you so much. And whatever.
Yes.
She goes, yes. And then I hung up. Manager comes out and is like, what the hell, man? That was a sale. What is wrong with you? So I see it almost like that as well.
Sir, that was a bot.
Oh God, yeah.
Jeff
So
pointed
that's
out, lesser known, but there's an equivalent to your credit score for checking savings accounts. So unauthorized accounts would affect and lower your score. So this actually does cause harm to people to get other services and things like loans.
Oh yeah. Plus, it's not like they're just going to open a bank account and like put their money in there. They're trying to get a loan or something. They're not like, I just want a bank, man. I just want.
So
Here's $1.
That bank account should hit on identity protection and stuff, though, right? So if I have I'm hoping, right? Because I have like anytime someone has a breach, I just say I was part of it and get identity protection.
That identity protection, that's just like a statement. It's not really like a thing.
No, it does. I've seen it work several times where I have signed up for stuff to see if it would hit. And then my credit takes a hit or something like that. So that's one reason. Like Credit Karma is your cheapest one, right? So I have Credit Karma on. Anytime anything happens, they email me, and every now and then something happens.
Do you remember the guy who was like doing the credit?
The LifeLock guy.
Yeah, LifeLock, and like identity stolen so many times and stuff.
I'm not saying it prevents it; it just alerts you. All right, I'm just detecting it, not prevention.
I don't think Credit Karma will detect a bank account creation.
That's what I'm wondering. Do they run your?
We need the InfoSec Ignoble Awards, or like the Darwin Awards in information security. Like that guy would win. Right? Like I'm so confident of our product. Here's my social security number, or your attorney handing over your phone, your entire digital phone.
Oh my God.
Attorney.
Classic. Dude, it happens all the time. It's a normal procedural.
I feel like it has to be like, it's like an insider threat. Like he's like actually working for sane people, but he just happens to have been hired.
That's not even a story, but I don't even know how the hell we talk about that rationally. Yeah. Like your attorney handing over your entire freaking cell phone to the.
Didn't he confirm it too? They like emailed him back like, "Hey, are you supposed to give us this?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm supposed to give."
No. Right. They said, "Hey, if any of this is protected information, let us know." And then the attorney for Alex Jones he totally decided at that point to ghost him.
He was like, make sure you turn on macros. That's what he did.
This is the MFA push notification when you're at the movies. Did I try to log in? Oh, yes, I did. Okay.
Yes, I did. I was just watching.
Did you intend to give the opposing attorney your entire cell phone?
Yes, it's me.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was
speaking of macros,
on them.
We do have
an
an
entire canary token.
There was an update on that?
Yeah, remember Microsoft enabled them. Or wait, disabled them.
Disabled. I have a good article.
Hold on.
They disabled them. They re-enabled them.
And then they re-enabled them. And then they disabled them back again. So everything's fine.
We saw it coming.
It's all over. It's all over.
Wow.
To go full circle, here's a proof point article on it.
Oh, here we are right there. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Why do that one? Proof point. They stopped macros?
So in this article, they talk about the increase in the decrease in macro attacks they've seen over since I think October to June, right? And about how everyone's using ISO, RAR, and link files now.
Oh, ISOs work great.
So don't let out the cat out of the bag here. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, dude.
So I once I read this, I jumped on it from a detection engineer standpoint. I'm like, all right, can we detect ISOs coming in? Can you detect ISOs mounted? Can you detect RARs? What happens when a malicious link file comes up, right?
What happens whenever an RDP file comes in?
Well, I got another one. Speaking of proof point misses, is PDFs. Those are a thing, and then links inside of PDFs. Parsing those are different.
Whoa, Ralph! Again, the cat in the bag.
I know, man. Ralph,
you're just leaking our TTPs.
I need to submit more Sigma alerts. Just keep it going.
Just keep them rolling.
That's the spiciest thing I can offer right now.
Well, okay. So, but let's think about this bigger, right? Not just this very specifics. Bigger, right? When we talk about success through email, we are going to move away from that form, right? So
we have to eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to. And as we continue on, we'll still look for the holes that picking on proof point here, but any other kind of detection software relies upon to prevent this kind of execution. And if you give enough information to the user, they will gladly go through it as long as you give them all the steps, right? But you really have to handhold. You got to be like, click here.
That's why it's good to have a 1-800 number for them to call for help.
Yes, exactly. If you have issues, please call this number. This is the tech support help desk, and I will personally help you.
And Ralph, you know what would be one step better than that 1-800 number to help them complete that transaction? Sending an Uber to their house.
Great
This
pivot.
is a story. This actually, I think
goodness.
this is my favorite story. I think for this week is basically a threat actor was trying to. That's not the article. That's a different one I'm going to talk about here in a second. But there were some people that were trying to scam a grandmother. And they basically said that they were going to charge her like $160, but then they called her up and said, "Oh my gosh, we actually credited your account $160,000."
Classic refund.
And the
scam.
lady was trying to work through it. She wasn't very like technically competent. She's like freaking out and like, "Well, you need to go to the bank. You need to transfer this directly right now, or I'm going to get fired. Can you please help me?" And she's like, "But I don't have a car." And they're like, "Don't worry, we're sending you an Uber."
Oh my God.
And this is just one of those things
Wow.
where really the malicious attackers out there have far better customer support. Like that's the point where she knew something was wrong. She's like, there's no company that has this level of customer support anywhere whatsoever.
Was it an Uber Black? That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah, that's how you know you're in
Yes.
Well, Ralph,
Yeah.
they use your compromised Uber account, so you can go and check.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, but they wanted the $160,000 returned to them because
Of
they said
course.
that they made a
Yeah.
mistake.
If you're interested in watching these refund scams, there's some really good YouTube channels where they like go, they pull the person along for 8 hours, and then at the end they just redeem all the gift cards they were fake gift cards, and the people lose their mind. They're like, "Do not redeem it!" They're like, "No!" They lose. It's so funny to watch. Yeah. Like some of them
really
like
fun.
throw their phones on the ground, or just like you could hear like smashing noises, and it's
Because they put
amazing.
so much time into that.
They
right?
do. The guy will run. This Twitch streamer, his name's Kit Boga. He'll literally run a timer, and a lot of these calls go for 8 hours. Like he'll pretend like he's going to the grocery store, and he's like, "Oh, I can't find the gift cards." Oh, like and he's just sitting in his office. Like it's so funny.
I had one messing with freaking out scamware scum where I literally they were taking control of my computer with like Abisoft, and I installed Poison Ivy. So this is like a long time ago, and I had Poison Ivy running, and he was like, "We can detect malware." I'm like, "Can you detect this?" And he's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "This is malware. It's running on your computer. You see right here where it says 127.0.0.1. That's your computer." And you can see him like control my mouse and like trying to close everything as quickly as he can on that one. But that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, no. This guy has also done like Windows 95. Like they call him and he's like, "All right, here's my computer," and it's like Windows 95.
Oh my God.
And they're like, nothing works. Like nothing, like they can't even get to the internet. And the people are like, "How am I even seeing this?" Like,
I would like to see a scammer go all the way through and like get malware, get things to work. Because if they got that to work on Windows 95, it'd just be like,
they're just like, "I was messing with you,"
bravo.
but they like
real.
install the drivers for like TCP/IP and stuff.
He like whips out Metasploit 1.
It is funny though, because like just getting stuff to work on like Server 2003 with all of the stuff that like with all of the tools that we currently have, they're not geared for that level of OS. So you have to like either go back in time or you have to rewrite all these tools to run on this OS. And if they have EDR in place, which I'm not sure what it even does on there, but it will just be enough to just ruin your day. You're just like, I'll go for your machine.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
Nickcat
I've seen around with
1.0.
those with the email
listening to the
scammers.
show and they're thinking, what we need to do is run nothing but legacy
Nothing but
software.
2003. That'll still
Everything's legacy software. Hackers won't even know how to approach it.
x86 payloads. How do those work?
No,
Yeah.
all we'll do is just start getting a better collection of all the really old stuff that works perfect. It's just tooling, right?
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny. Did Corey will appreciate this article? Did you guys see about BMW charging extra?
I have a whole.
Yes.
This triggers me.
Oh
so
my God.
Yes.
It makes me. Yeah. So this is basically, so for those that don't know, and it's been in a lot of mainstream media, but basically in certain countries, this is not in the US because the US people will flip if this ever happens, but in certain countries, BMW is making you buy a car with heated seats, and you can't use them until you pay an $18 or $28 or whatever $1 a month subscription for heated seats. So they literally, the thing that triggers me so much is BMW bought the parts, they put them in the car, and then they charged you for the price of the car, but then you can't use them unless you pay their subscription.
Are the prices increased for those heated seats on the car?
Yes, they are.
They are? Okay. That was the only redeeming factor. If you bought the car at base rate, maybe.
So I will say I do own a BMW, but it is an old enough BMW that has no computers in it. No, none of that crap. Do not buy a modern BMW. We all have to vote with our wallets on this one and make them. And by the way, this has already been done before and no one noticed. So it's not like this is new. This is the future of cars. Tesla does this with autopilot.
Yeah.
Tesla already does this. Like your car, you paid for your cameras when you bought your car, but guess what? Oh, sorry, they don't work unless you pay this ransom. Like,
well, ransom hackers.
Now, like the hacker community is getting around it. It's kind of like with actually, I think John Deere tractors. One of the pioneers
about that too. Yeah,
where if you if you bought a John Deere tractor, even to use it, you had to have a software subscription, or the tractor would not run. And like farmers were totally hacking the hell out of that crap.
But it was like, there was malware and wrapped up in it too, because it's like you're Googling like Romanian firmware John Deere, like, you know what I mean? Like you're Googling like, and you're a farmer, by the way. Like you're seriously like, it's insane.
You're trying to grow food. You're not.
You're trying to grow food, and you're like, I need to, power takeoff module not working firmware John Deere hack download ISO is not going to get you that's going to get you malware 100% of the time.
When are we going to jailbreak these and start jailbreak a Tesla? Start putting on your open source Tesla software, right? It's called Edison, of course. So it allows you everything to work.
Custom stores.
Car hacking is a whole thing, man. Car hacking.
Jailbreaking a Tesla, right? I don't know if we've gotten to that point, but think if it was jailbroken though, then it shouldn't report its location anymore, and you should be able to unlock. There's a lot of things that would be interesting, not for Tesla, but for the owner of said vehicle, right?
Hey, the heated seats will work again without
basically what we've learned is anything that can be pitched as a convenience feature can be used as anti-consumer. They're like, oh, well, see, if your car gets stolen, we will get it back for you. Don't ask, no questions asked. It'll return to your driveway automatically. It's like, oh, well, fine. Here's all my info. Here's my privacy. Where do I swipe?
There's some of this stuff, like the services. To be honest with you, I have OnStar. I just bought a truck, and
GM.
They were like, oh, you get like 3 months OnStar. I'm like, I don't need damn OnStar. I just don't. And they're like, we're gonna give it to you for free. If you want it, great. If you don't, whatever. Just after 3 months, it'll shut off automatically. And I'm not joking. Like that weekend, we were out and the keys got locked inside the truck, and literally called and they unlocked it. It was less than 5 minutes, and I was like, "What is the base minimum that gets me that level of feature? Not my car if it's stolen, and with my keys." And they're like, "Well, that's like $10 a month." I'm like, I want that. And they're like, you don't want turn-by-turn navigation? No.
Wait, can we talk about, they had to design that in, right? Because every other car, like my car has keyless entry. If the key's in it, you can't lock it from the outside. And also it'll just automatically unlock if the key's in it because the key's detected. So they could have just designed it like that instead of being like, no, we're going to put you into this $10 a month thing.
Yeah. I signed up though. I signed up. Huh?
You have to call. Think about this. You have a phone that will tell you wherever you need to go, give you all the navigation you need. But they want you to call, and then they're going to speak on the other phone and tell you when to turn left and right.
You don't have to call. You just press the button. You just press the button.
Yeah, there's a button
on the dash.
It's
still a button.
Yeah, it's literally
a button.
A
person on the other end, though.
Yes. So
all right.
Here's how it works.
Oh my god.
So here's how it works. My parents actually have
this.
They
print off MapQuest and read it to you?
No. So when you call in, say, hey, I want to go to Kentucky or wherever, right? And then a person, it's an operator, is like, so how would you like to get there? You want to do the turn by turn, or do you want it to have shortcuts, no tolls or whatever? How do you want it? It's like you're telling them how you want to
so it's more of an experience thing.
It's really piss those people off. While they're talking to you, you're like, no, Alexa, I would like turn by turn, please. Sorry, my name's John, sir. No, Alexa. No Google. My name's not Google. Oh God.
My God. I would say, I'm going to pass on that subscription.
Please don't buy this. Please don't support this.
Yeah, don't support it. Not cool. not cool for that.
Oh my
I don't even know
God.
what it has to do with security, other than it just gets you an idea just how like.
Well, okay,
how
so
It will push car hacking.
it will push car hacking. I think this is really
it
what's
will, which I think is a good thing. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome because I do want to go on like like some car site and be like, this BMW is jailbroken and ready for a new owner.
For sure. Yeah. No, people do that.
Unlocked.
Mechanics are going to start learning programming languages.
Yeah,
real
so
fast.
that's the future of cars, and we already seen this with the Tesla. It is 4 wheels with a computer and a battery. Okay,
So-
that's like the whole thing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Another big thing this is seen with the semi trucks, right?
Yeah.
The amount of computers in a semi truck is ridiculous. And my dad's a big rig mechanic, and he has this one computer that he plugs into the OBD2 sensor. But the amount of flips and switches and options and bypasses that they have is absolutely ridiculous.
The amount
tracking,
of telemetry and tracking.
And if you flip the wrong one, there goes $1 million. Like
Oh well,
the
dude,
rig can go under.
There
pretty crazy.
recently another in the car space. There was an update to Ford Mach-E's to give what they call like Blue Cruise or whatever, which is like basically semi-autonomous driving, like lane keep assist and all that stuff. The update, just the update takes 2 days. Like the updates, yeah. So just like you have to take your car to the dealer, and they plug it into a
dealer. It's not in your garage receiving the over-the-air download.
Correct. It's too long. It's too much data for over-the-air. It literally takes. And it's because of the transfer rate of the OBD2 port is only like 1.2 megabits per second. And it's like a 10 gig update. So like, so like seriously, like this is where we're at, and it's too big because it takes 2 days. It's like imagine the consumer feedback if someone's car just doesn't work for 2 days because it's updating. Like, basically, we've made a wrong turn somewhere. I don't know where.
Can we get off this ride?
The internet should have been nothing but Wikipedia and email and some light purchasing capabilities. So.
I don't know how we got here.
Cat pictures.
I still think whenever DARPA was coming out with this. That there was a conversation. They're like, so this is amazing. You have this ability where you can click this link and it takes you to another article and it's got text, and then someone raises their hand and they're like, could you put pictures on that? yeah, I think you could put you're right. So it could help doctors for drawings and things like this and these papers.
I just found a picture of a boob.
Yeah. Yes. That. What about video? Could we put video? Well, we're gonna have to develop some compression algorithms for that to happen. Yeah, you're gonna need to get hopping on that, academic.
Yes, we need that.
Yeah, we're gonna need that.
Well, hey, the world's first webcam was for checking if a coffee pot was empty or full, right? So
that's a really important thing.
Yeah, that's an internet history fact.
That's what happens with all the tech geeks. They're like, here's this beautiful technology. How is it being used? Tub something to people.
Yeah. The coffee.
This isn't what I designed this for.
The coffee is an example.
So
yeah, so you could have just programmed in an HTML page that says yes or no.
We don't have any ransomware articles for today, but we do have a little MSP news, right?
Let's go.
I know we haven't brought this up in a little while, so I thought this was kind of decent. It seems like there has been posts online recently about a 50 U.S. companies being breached through through MSPs, right? So the attack on MSPs is kind of back up here. Sorry, I know I can see Ryan over there just feverishly searching for this.
What article is this?
But so MSPs being attacked, right? So this is like kind of an interesting way to get into a lot of other companies, and we've talked about this before. I don't think it's going anywhere, and these MSPs are just like. So some of them are just shoestring brought up, and they all
no budgets, they
zero
have no money
at all.
See, we do
obviously. I'll tell you one.
So wait, this is all theoretical, right? Is any of this confirmed?
Some of it is. So a couple of MSPs have recently announced that they have been, but like obviously
Net standard.
The amount and how soon and how public it's going to be. We talked about some in the past that were really big, but there's tons of really small ones. And
they don't make the news. Like the small ones don't make the news nearly as much.
Yeah.
And no, look, in the security community, we used to always I think a lot of people do, make fun of MSPs, right? But these people are like MacGyvering this every day. It's duct tape, baling wire, shoestrings, and nothing but dreams. There's no training. Like it's bad. It's not like they can sit down and be like, yes, we're going to spring $7,000 training on all 10 of our employees. That doesn't happen. And the other problem that happens in the MSP space, and this is totally effed up, is they're really good employees. As soon as they get good, they get gone very, very, very quickly.
We hire them. Sorry, someone else
can
hired
confirm.
And what sucks for the MSPs is there's really no way out of this because they got locked into a death spiral of the cheapest one, right? So in regions like the cheapest MSP is always the MSP that gets the most work by doing volume, and then they make hardly anything on the margins as far as like what they're doing. So they have to do all this stuff at scale. And oh boy, it's bad. And we spent a lot of time talking to MSPs through Antisyphon and training. And the biggest complaint that we get is like, or not complaint, they say, your training's great because it doesn't have a certification that's going to lead people to get stolen from my company. I'm like,
oh my God.
Wow.
I will admit, it's the amount that I learned working at an MSP.
It's got to be huge.
It was great. It was awesome because I had access. I didn't have access bad logs to a couple hundred clients, and I got to see how they reacted to a breach and how they escalated to me or how I escalated to them, and then the communication back and forth and how their network was set up.
I'll be right back.
And it was golden. I learned so much going through there, but exactly what John said, like once you get a little bit of experience, you're usually worth double your wage right off the bat, and you just flip that switch on LinkedIn and they come running.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I'm good. All right, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for all the training memories.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. It's they definitely operate on shoestring budget. Shoestring.
Shoestring.
It's the trenches, right? It's
Ralph Shenshi.
So what would you do differently? Would you just if you do you increase MSA rates or MSP rates so that they have enough to do security hardening and training and all that stuff, or what is like the out?
So what we're working on with a bunch of MSPs right now, as far as like and this gets into advertising, but MSP training at Antisyphon is a lot of companies are terrified of ransomware and they're terrified of their insurance company if they get hit with a ransomware attack. So what MSPs really need to do is they need to sit down and start having real conversations with their customers and saying, these are the security things that need to be done. It's going to cost more money. This is how it maps to a compliance requirement for your industry. And then this also is how it maps over to your insurance company for establishing, due diligence or base level of security. They have to start doing education on their customers and letting their customers know that more security is going to cost more money. And it sucks because it's this weird game of chicken where it's almost like the first MSP that moves that way loses because they're literally like, hey, we want to do the right thing. We want to do security. We're going to charge more for it. And other MSPs are going to be in and be like, we're cheaper. And that's the way it's going to be.
But as more of these compromises happen, people will have more of an appetite for, okay, we know you're the cheapest, but who's the most secure? Right? Because we got breached. Like anyone that got breached from the SolarWinds thing is like, all right, what a product that can do all the same stuff, but doesn't get us hacked. Like, I
feel like they usually launch their own SOCs during that. It's an escalation, right?
Yep,
if they're big enough, right? And I think another thing John hit that I think is really bad for the MSPs is a lot of people like to test them, right? And you don't necessarily communicate with your managed security provider. Like this is for security, right? Yeah. Because you expect them to do it, right? And then if they fail, you just say, hey, you failed. You don't show them where they failed and don't do a root cause analysis. And the other big thing is like, there's no improvement. And that's one of the worst parts. And the other one is usually the people who can't afford those cheapest MSPs don't have the best security either. So it's like trash in, trash out. Yep. So it's like that perpetuating cycle of just pure death.
And it's getting to the point now where like it's the stack, right? And almost always the security is coming down to what is the EDR that they're using. And SentinelOne right now is crushing it in the MSP space because they don't suck. They've got a pricing model that I think is very agreeable for MSPs. And I don't know if anybody's ever used SentinelOne for day-to-day like analyst who's not trained level. Like you can use SentinelOne. Like you can train someone how to use SentinelOne very, very quickly. Now, does that mean that they're the best? No. Does it mean that they're the worst? No. But it means that SentinelOne, as far as what I'm seeing in this space, they tend to get the MSP space really well. And then I would also put like Huntress in that category as well. But no, it's just crazy. It's absolutely insane. If we're like, here, we're going to show you how to teach you how to do things the right way. They're like, no. I want my people to know which buttons to click in a GUI. And that's really what we're working against. And so far, we've had a lot of success in that space so far. But it's a bad space. And what sucks the most is Wade, I don't know what your take on this is, but I would say MSPs are probably responsible for securing somewhere near 70% of like the computer systems and stuff in America, because you have big corporate infrastructure, but there's this monster, like there's something like 35,000 MSPs in the United States alone, and security people have no idea of that world at all.
We had the one I worked for. We had a lot of large corporations. We had everything from mom and pop shops to like Fortune 100 companies, right? And it was across the board. But usually, when it comes to those bigger places, you're there to augment. You're there for the 24/7 coverage, for the night shifts type of stuff. And honestly, like I hate this. Usually, the dude working the night shift isn't the top of the game. Like that's the low man on the totem pole.
Anytime you get 24/7 ops, it's just how it works. And then eventually, when they get
good,
good, they get the perk.
You got to get global at that point, right?
Follow the sun. There's a couple stocks I know that have multiple teams in different countries that do that.
Yeah. So far we've got people in Germany, India, and New Zealand. I think Wade, you know Brian from New Zealand, and he's just awesome. So like we're trying to get that support globally. Because if you get somebody in the US, it's like the IT crowd, where it's like the guy who's in the basement dressed all goth, and he's like, see that light? That light blinks out of sync from the other lights every half an hour. It's like, oh my God.
That is exactly it to a T. Like I've had experience with those people. They're the nicest, but they're that guy.
They're that guy. And it's always that guy, right?
The coffee drips 5 times before it's ready.
There's. It sounds like it's kind of just pressure from every side for MSPs. So
I'd like to see it get better, because like seriously, all joking aside, some of the stuff that MSPs pull out of their butt and the stuff that they're able to do, especially whenever it comes to IR, is like freaking miraculous. And I really think they're just, there's just an amazing group of people that are there, but their pressures are way harder. It's like, BHIS, we have our SOC and Antisyphon. And I was talking to some MSPs on like what we're doing and what we charge. And like the MSPs were like, wait, what? Like, how do you charge that? Like, how do you do that? But we're in a different space, right? We're in the security space for corporations that want augmentation. They want to do it right. We aren't playing the game of, guess what? We're cheapest. It's Graham just basically said they have an impossible job. And, hats off, for those about to rock, we salute you.
So let's address a specific person right now. You work at an MSP, you are a hero, but when you automate your job so you can play video games, please store your credentials securely. That's my only request.
Oh no! Are we going to close out with the not Slack, but the the Discord? The Discord article?
There was Discord on Discord. I did it.
The Discord.
Is it a supply chain
like
thing,
a new operating system. I swear to God.
Yeah, it's all Electron. Everything's Electron now.
It's all ones and zeros.
Wait, you guys aren't streaming this from Discord? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm in Discord. I click the link and it's just rendering in here.
It's all
doing the Discord dance.
Yeah.
So, I guess they were sending.
This is two. There's two
Slack.
articles. Are we talking about Slack or are we talking about Discord?
Let's talk about the Discord.
The Discord one is like a supply chain thing.
It's an NPM pack.
It is. It's an NPM. Yep.
Which we've talked about before too, like kind of the idea that, this is like a train wreck of anyone can submit anything they want. And
what we had talked about before is like 45% of the emails that are responsible for maintaining NPM packages are no longer registered.
But we still use all of those packages.
That was an article. Yes. So that was an article that we talked about, which we talked about how there could be potential for takeovers, right? And it seems like one of them happened.
Yep. Well, like you said, this goes in, like if you're running Node, right? Like this goes into that supply chain stuff that we were talking about earlier. And that's why I think that whenever you have vendors out there that are already saying that they solve the supply chain security issues, I'm like, you're so full of shit. This is so unbelievably more complicated than, looking up vulnerabilities in different packages or checking to see what email security a company has. It's bad.
So this is
like Grab. The solution is to stop using JavaScript. Obviously.
Oh, we have TypeScript. It'll be fine. We have TypeScript.
There we go.
Fixed it is everything.
It's all moving to Rust anyway.
It's fine. Except for you realize we're writing malware in Rust and it's going to get blacklisted by every EDR because we're using it too much, right? Like it's going to be like
pretty much.
Jumping off of this one, did you guys watch the fight between NS Labs, not NS Labs, who are MDSec and the Brute Rattel?
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
This has been drama for
This
months.
is like super drama bomba. Like this is
so great to watch.
Can we put the symbol for that drama?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Right there. There we go.
And it's like I like the MDSec people and I like the Brute Rattel people, but they're the absolute worst when they start going toe to toe. And I'm just going to say, if you're trying to judge these people based on what they're doing to each other on Twitter, don't. They're actually some of them.
Well, really, you also brought in Sentinel-1 earlier, which they're involved too.
Yes.
They're the kind of the ones that started. They're like, "Hey, yo, you all suck. Peace." Like,
I'm not here to set the record straight, but it started with Sentinel-1 and Brute Rattel, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Brute Rattel
showed up.
Well, MDSec showed up. Not because of anything that happened with Brute Rattel and Sentinel-1, but because I guess they
had beef.
They had beef, whatever. So the Brute Rattel, whatever, ended up breaking into
their
Slack.
Yeah, their Slack channel with all
and we're just like saving all the logs of everything that's happening.
Which, by the way, if anyone has those logs here, I can give you a summary. It's me asking for help. It's me being like, please, I can't get it working, please. So it's not that interesting.
It really wasn't that
Corey's in the
interesting,
center of it. It's really Corey's fault.
This is why I don't have Twitter. Like, who is this idiot? Just keeps asking about his profile.
Question. I was like, how does Corey know all this? He doesn't have Twitter.
So for me, there's two things, right? Like, I'm a chaos monkey. I love chaos. I mean, I don't do well with consistency. I hate this is the Tuesday at 2 meeting. It's like, oh God, no, I just want to go do crazy things. And so like my chaos monkey is very happy with this, right? At the same time, like somewhere along the line, I became an InfoSec luminary or something. And I feel somewhat responsible for the industry. It's like part of me feels like I need to go in and be like, children, shut this shit down. This is not how we behave in this industry. Take this crap out to the parking lot, deal with it. And I don't know, but there's part of me that just like wants to watch that dumpster burn and just float away.
So what we need to have, okay, John, can we have like a freaking battle royale for C2s? Like, can we have like seriously, like not a CTF, like a CTF style, like Rumble, like it's like a battle of the EDRs or a battle of the C2s or whatever. Like, bring what you got. And show us, like, instead of just arguing on Twitter. Oh, here's a screen cap of your tool sucking. Oh, well, here's a screen cap of your tool sucking. It's like,
you can't have your tool up on Virus Total. It's
no.
They use only the C2s in your collection. Can't ask any for the help from any of us.
No. So they should have a competition. You're right, Corey. And it's like a the World League, or the like World Championship of EDR.
The World Championship of EDR.
The
EDR
C2
bypass. It's like, and drugs are recommended. Like whatever drugs you want to bring to this competition, you can.
Performance enhancing drugs recommended.
That would be the most watched event ever, right?
Yeah.
But good luck getting the EDR vendors to show up.
They're so skittish, right? And they need to be. I mean, honestly, this is like I talk to people that are starting up companies, and every once in a while, in the industry, someone will be like, well, I want to create a company that creates implants. And I'm like, don't do that. Let me explain why. And it's like, as soon as the AV vendors are like onto the scent of your product, it's over. Like they're all going to just completely write signatures for your product. And you're not, well, I think we can stay in front of, 57 AV vendors. Good luck with that, right? And it's a really tough market space because for this, your claim to fame is, you can bypass EDR, really.
No.
And then the other thing that absolutely blows my mind is whenever people are like, well, we're going to be a company that writes 0 days and uses them in our pen tests, and that's our claim. It's like,
we get them every time.
You're on that treadmill, right? And every time, I mean, shit, even at BHIS, whenever we have implants, our customers are uploading our implants all the time on red teams. They're like, what is this? And then they submit it.
Virus total.
Yeah, right to virus total, right
VT.
to a signature.
Are you guys tracking virus total to see when they submit those at all?
Yeah, I get the
we
push
have
notification to my
let
phone.
us know. It comes up in conversation.
I was going to say, I get the beacon, dude.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
like, instantly.
Yeah, I get a beacon
from a sandbox in France. Great.
Battle of the beacons.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm laying down the challenge. Sentinel-1 or one of these big EDRs have a challenge, like host like a public battle royale rumble.
Just set it up.
Just
This
set it up.
is a PR event for the ages.
It is.
Who shows up?
You started it by saying every C2 sucks, and so now let's set us up a lab and let's go.
And I'm surprised
Corey
more companies haven't set out to burn Sentinel-1 to the ground, because once again, it's not like, well, BHIS, we had to stop doing testing because Sentinel-1 entered the scene. And ultimately, like my biggest thing about all of this is, if we go back to Brute Ratel and MDSec and Nighthawk and all that, basically what I want to say is this: the more you tear each other apart, the more it hurts everybody in the industry. The more you're throwing your competitor under the bus, the more they're going to throw you under the bus, the more you're making it more difficult for the red team community, the pen testing community, the offensive community. And the only thing that's going to happen is companies are just going to continue to start writing their own custom malware and implants, which, believe me, there are people in the industry that think that's what we all should be doing. And they're not wrong in all regards. So please stop tearing each other apart. This is just horseshit. Just stop. My Chaos Monkey, I had to put him away for a little while. You're not improving the industry. Hell, you're not even improving your freaking sales because you all look like a-holes. Just stop. Okay? If anything, I would recommend you guys flip the script. You guys come together and you do what MITRE did. I'm serious about this. Get all of these commercial C2s that are out there. Do MITRE attack evaluations. Sit down and get a bunch of EDR vendors, bypass the EDR vendors, and do a real shootout of what EDRs can actually detect whenever you have skilled people behind the keyboards doing it. And it's not like Cobalt Strike default, and it's not PowerShell Empire that's old, but it's literally the people from MDSec and Brute Ratel coming together, smoking a bunch of EDR vendors in a weekend, and then saying, here's the report of which ones did a really good job detecting us and which ones didn't. Do that.
Sunday.
And please live stream it. Please.
I know
live
Florian
stream.
and other blue teamers were like, John, shut the F up. Don't. The only way we win is if they fight each other.
The only way
we can call them the C2 Care Bears.
The C2 Care Bears, right?
This competition should totally happen. It would be the most watched in the security industry.
I would so watch it.
I would pay to watch.
And I'll tell you what, you vendors,
Twitch stream
with a bunch of other pen testing firms. I'm sure they'd love to come and play and work together.
It's like CCDC, but for products. We're just like, what products?
You know what? Oh, man.
CCDC.
We have a bunch of red teamers. We have a bunch of blue teamers. You bring your products, we'll bring our hacks, and then we all learn something at the end of the day. And everyone's egos are completely destroyed.
Yeah. John, we should totally just set the stage. And
but if we're gonna do it, we have to have ego police with like cow prods. They're like, hey, no ego allowed. But what they do is they shock the computer.
Are you writing that malware, BSD Bandit? Are you writing that malware in Rust? Oh, God damn it!
And it's not even obfuscated.
It's not even obfuscated. What is that, Golang? Golang is so large. Oh, I can't believe you're using Go. Oh, God damn it! Oh.
Nim, how dare you? You're using Nim?
There you go. Yeah, that's what we need. Just like no holds barred. Everyone learns something. There's ego police. Now
Police.
my chaos monkey is happy again. He's like, yes, we need
Well,
to make this happen.
We're gonna take him out. We're gonna put him in a little suit that says "Ego Police," and then that'll just be we're good to go.
He runs around with a bat. So, this is just, we got to get better. All right, we've gone over.
We've killed it. We have killed it.
This went off the rails, and I know I'm going to get emails and
rails?
like tweets, like DMs from these people. I can't believe you said that. Let me explain to you how the other side are assholes. Stop. Don't. Go to DEF CON, get drunk, have a good time. Don't contact me. All right.
Don't contact me.
I like Jeff McJunkin. He said, but seriously, Netcat will win. Or some variant of Netcat will win.
Yeah. I'm going to be at DEF CON this weekend. So anybody who wants to say hi, I'll be over in the red team village. That's right.
I won't be at DEF CON because I'm an old man shouting at clouds. So, all right.
Yes.
All right, Ryan, take us out.
Bye-bye.
Later.